What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rooted in Greatness series that we're doing. We're doing this series all year long. Why? So we can talk to neuropsychologists, we can talk to student athletes, we're talking to clinicians, we're talking to CMPC people. We're bringing this conversation right to you so we can talk about how faith intersects, how faith connects with performance psychology. If we tell athletes that we want them to be elite, but we don't do spiritual development, how elite are they? That's the conversation that we want to talk about. If we're talking about being mentally healthy, then how can you talk about being mentally healthy if the spirit is not included? But we do know that if our spirit leaves our body, we're dead. So today we have an amazing guest. But before I introduce you to our guest, I want to introduce my co-host. I love saying this, all the way from Tunis? No, she's from Tunisia. Those of you guys who are in America, we say Tunisia, but it's really called Tunis in Arabic. I just want y'all to know. I learned a lesson. I'm teaching you today. Give it up for my girl, Noor is in the building. Noor, introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everybody. I hope you know me by now, honestly, but it's Noor again. I'm Noor Giblewi, international student athlete, senior at Western Illinois and competing in tennis.
Noor, every time you say your last name, I'm so honest. This is like just raw. Like every time you say your last name, it is so lit to me. Like even when we get off recording, I find myself saying Gublevi, 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 Gublevi.
It does sound like a song, like it
I
does. I don't
love
know
it.
why.
I love your name. But Nora, introduce our guest and tell us a little bit about our guest, and then we're going to pass it over because I want to get to know her a little better.
Well, our guest today is Mia, which is a good friend that I met back in the summer, and I'm really grateful that I did. I met Mia in May back in CCF with the NCAA, but I only met her as a human being, and then, you go on Instagram and you see all the amazing things she does, and it just connects to her. And I'm just as much as excited as everybody today to hear her story, from that athletic, side of it. So Mia, if you want to add on.
That's what's
Thanks.
up. Welcome, Mia. Welcome to the party.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Nora, for the beautiful introduction. I appreciate it. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Mia. I am a student athlete at Pepperdine. I'm a junior eligibility wise and a senior credits wise. So I'm graduating this May.
Come on, senior graduating.
So I am graduating in May, trying to figure out next steps. I'm a double major in psychology and sports medicine, vice president of our SAC board, mental health chair of our SAC board, just hidden opponent, campus captain. So I'm super excited to kind of be having conversations about how we can develop athletes holistically and kind of involve faith in that, because that's something that is really, really important to me. So I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I love that you say involve faith in this conversation. I tell people faith is the part of the conversation that's been missing for a long time, right? And so now we see all the science that's starting to come out. A lot of it has been there, but now people are seeing the science back what faith has always said. And I always tell people, what's interesting is that the Bible is still the number one best sold book on the planet. Like it still is number one. They had to remove it because people still keep buying it, right? And so with that being said, that's evidence that it must be doing something right. It must be doing something right if people still buying it. But I'd love to dive into this conversation, Mia. You know, you mentioned that you were a junior on the field, but you are a senior in the classroom. And it's interesting using the dichotomy, right? Those two different, I'm a junior in one vein, but I'm a senior in this vein. That dichotomy leads me to this question, which is, how do you divide yourself from your faith?
Wow. Okay, hold on. So I'll first talk about kind of the dichotomy of junior versus senior.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on my team for 4 years. I redshirted my junior year, so last year. It gets confusing because this is my junior year, but it's also my senior year. So my third year of college, I redshirted because I had surgery on both of my legs. I had, yeah, I had chronic exertional compartment
You said
syndrome.
on both of your legs,
What? Yeah, both of my legs.
and you're a runner.
Yes.
Wow. You want to talk about the anointing? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What a moment for like spiritual, personal growth. Was diagnosed with chronic exertional compartment syndrome the summer before my sophomore year, so my second year of college. I competed through it because it was bad timing for surgery. I knew I needed 2 surgeries, so I put it off. I ran through that season and not my best, but it was also a season of overcoming and kind of adjusting and pivoting and figuring out how I can take care of my body, and that being my first priority. So it was a season of growth, and then I had surgery on both my legs. I had bilateral fasciotomies to my anterior and lateral compartments the summer before my third year. So I went in for my left leg at literally a week after my season ended, and then 6 weeks later I went in for my right leg, and then I spent the entire year after rehabbing. So honestly, that kind of was a big moment for me for how do I separate myself from my sport? And then how do I separate all of that from my faith? And how do I let my faith kind of take
Lead the
control of
way.
everything that's going on in my life?
Yeah.
Because that was so out of my control. And someone like me, I am a control freak. I loved to be in control of everything. I wanted to know what the next step was at all times. And I'm still like that. I'm very future oriented. I want to set myself up for success. I want to do what will prepare me to be successful in whatever realm I'm in at all times. But in situations like that, I can't control my healing. I mean, I can put myself in the best possible position to heal, but the time that's going to pass and the patience I'm going to have, that does not come from me. And for me, that comes from the Lord. That comes from my faith. And so that summer I've always been rooted in my faith, but that summer for me was very, very transformative in that I had to really, really lean on God. And first time I was reading scripture every day. I was praying every day, talking to my mom every day, teammates, my coach. I'm really blessed. I go to a Christian university. So being surrounded by people who also have a strong foundation in faith was very, very helpful to me because you're surrounded by people who are eager to have those conversations with you. So it was really, really big for me to kind of look inward and say, okay, what can I give up to God? Because it's too heavy for me to carry myself. And I was already carrying myself, my human self, through that's exhausting on your body. 2 surgeries, and both of my surgeries, my first surgery was the day before Memorial Day, I think, and then my second surgery was the day before the 4th of July. So great timing because I was just laid up in bed for the summer holidays. And for me, feeling kind of outside of what everyone else was doing, I felt disconnected because everyone else was traveling and doing fun stuff. It's the off season. So everyone's enjoying kind of relaxing and taking a couple weeks off. And that for me, a couple weeks off turned into an entire year. So I think that, I don't know, I think that was a really big moment for me. How do I make sure that my faith is what's driving me and not kind of what I'm dragging along with me? And I think that for me was a really, really important moment in my personal development, in my athletic development, because now having been through that, as terrible and as hard and as miserable and painful as it was, I'm a whole different athlete because of it. And it gives you a perspective. I am so blessed and I'm so grateful to be here. I came back from a surgery that most people that's your surgery and it's career ending. So I'm just grateful to be back and where I am. And that's my goal for this year is I haven't competed like I usually do. Since I was a freshman in college. So I'm really just chasing whatever God has for me. I don't want to chase numbers. I just want to fulfill God's plan for me for this season of my life, and whatever that looks like, even if it's not what I'm expecting, even if it's hard, I want to grow through that. So I'm just, I don't know if that fully answers your question, but I try to separate the faith. Instead of blaming God for what I'm going through, I thank God, even if it's not what I want, because I've learned that I can grow and I can become a better person and turn out even better than I was before because of it. And you don't always see that in the moment, but God always has plans. So it always ends up working out.
Yo, it sounds like you understood the assignment though.
She did. I love that.
You
I
have
felt
to.
literally, yeah, you do have to. I felt every word you said to myself, literally, because I've been through the like similar thing. I did two surgeries, and I love that you shared how you kind of leaned into God and put
Mhm.
your faith and believe into Him to get back and become stronger. But also realizing, as you shared, like, thank you for sharing that, because it does change your perspective. Um as student athletes, we easily put our worth into those stats and, those tournaments, those practices even, we always want to get better. We all always want to perform well, everything. And then, unfortunately things like this come, but they teach you so much that losses and wins could never, as you
Yes.
shared, like it literally changed your perspective.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
just hearing you say this, I'm gonna tell you from my experience, like, I'm just so excited to see you, compete again this season, because I
Mm.
just know with that mindset,
Yeah,
you
that's gonna
only
be
can shine.
exciting.
Like, there's nothing that can break you right now. It's all on
Mhm.
you. Like, it's literally nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who you're racing off against. It doesn't matter because you
Mm.
have that mindset,
Mhm.
and it's gonna show up. Like, the difference is gonna show quickly, and everybody's gonna notice it.
Yeah.
I'll pass it
Mm.
Thank
to
you.
Rico, but
Thank you. Thank you. Of
No, I
course.
love it. When you were talking, what came up for me is a scripture that says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so a lot of people like relegate that scripture to like nighttime, morning time. But for me, nighttime equals any time in my life when I feel void of things, right? Any time, any moment, any mindset, any identity crisis that I'm going through can be a night for me. But morning for me is when I understand that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like morning for me is when I understand that no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Yes. I
Morning
just
for
read that
me
last
is
night.
come on, come on. Morning for me, Mia, is when I understand that I'm more than a conqueror,
Mhm.
right? Because the definition of a conqueror is a person that never loses a battle. So when we were talking earlier, before we came on air, we were talking about being more than stuff. More than, I'm more than, I'm more than, I'm more than. No, the scripture actually says you're more than a conqueror. And so if I'm more than a conqueror, the definition of a conqueror is a person that never loses a battle, then that means that victory is guaranteed for me no matter what the circumstance is. And that's what I heard you just share. You said, I'm only in pursuit of God's plan, right? I'm only in pursuit of what he has in store for me. So let me ask you this. When it comes to his plan versus your plan, I know you said you're after his plan. What does that look like in the middle of indecisiveness?
It's hard. I mean, I'm like we were talking about earlier before we came on here, I'm at a major crossroads in my life.
Mhm.
I'm about to graduate undergrad. I have choice overload when it comes to what my next step is.
Mhm.
I applied to PhD school. I have a fifth year. I'm applying to master's programs. I'm applying to jobs. I have 101 options. And I honestly I don't know. I don't know what I want to do yet. I have this
Mm.
conversation every single day with my friends, my mom, my coach, all of these people. I don't know what's next for me. I
Mhm.
really don't know. And it's honestly, it should be scary. It, I think to a
Mm.
person who's not rooted in faith, it's scary
Mhm.
because
Come on.
May is sprinting towards me. I am sprinting towards May. And
Mhm.
I'm so at peace because honestly, I'm so blessed to have the options that I have. And really, for me, it's just putting myself in the best possible position to be successful in any of those options when it becomes clear to me which one's the right one. So
Mhm.
I don't know which
Mm.
one is going to be my path, and I don't know if it's really going to be what I want in my heart of hearts. It might not be, but I know that regardless of what it ends up being, I will be grateful that God revealed to me that that's what's next for me and that I
Mm.
will throw myself into it and that I will be successful wherever I go. And I think a part of that is, I think a part of trusting what will happen next when you're in indecisiveness is setting your eyes on success, but also having a firm definition of what success means to you. because everyone runs around saying, I want to be successful. I want to be successful. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to make X amount of money. I want to have X job. I want to live in X house and drive X car. But honestly, that's not true success, because if you're focusing the materialistic stuff on what is fulfilling you, you will never be fulfilled. So I think to me, it's having conversations. What does success look like to me, and what is going to like light me on fire? What's going to make me feel like I am fulfilling what God wants me to fulfill? What makes me feel like I am serving him and the people around me in the best possible way, and in the way that gives me a purpose? And I think having those conversations with myself, and then also finding ways to set myself up to be in a position to do that and to fulfill that, is all that I can do. And it's 100% enough. Like, every time I submit an application, I just pray to God, if this is not what you want for me, I don't want it. If this is not what the Lord wants for me, I don't want it. So it's just really about knowing that when the right thing comes along, it's just going to fall into my lap, because I have put myself in a position to be prepared for it. So honestly, yeah, it's really like, I'm indecisive, but God is not. So I'm just going to sit back and wait for him to make
bars.
I'm going to sit
I'm
back and I'm going to wait for him
indecisive,
to
but
make the
God is
decision for
not.
me. Yeah. So he'll choose for me. And even if it's not what I want in the moment, or it's not what I think I want, it will end up being what I need. And that's all I can ask.
Wow. Listen, I can go in so many directions, but I'm gonna kick it to Nora, because I I love
I
this,
love
Mia.
I love that. I love to hear that. And as I said, she just knows what to say at the right time. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's amazing to hear you say that because, it's not something easy, to realize. I personally learned that through experience. I went through, not knowing what decision to take, not knowing what step should I move with, but I learned the hard way, that lesson to just, let God choose for me, and whatever feels right is gonna be right, but I love to hear you say that right now, because you're in the middle of that moment of not knowing what step to take, but you already have that mindset. And again, I do believe it's all about the perspective on how you look on to things, because yes, you don't know what your next step is. Yes, you can be stressed. Yes, you can be scared, but just again, looking it from the other side of, I'm grateful to have those opportunities. I know God is gonna lead me to the right thing, and that's just amazing to hear again, because you're still in that moment, like it's just amazing to hear. But it also brings me to my next question, and I would love you to share a little bit of, who you are away from all of this, again, like, I want you to share what other passions you have, because actually this is
Yeah.
amazing, Tariko. I was watching, something came up on Instagram yesterday for me, and it just hit me so hard because us as student athletes, we always think mainly of our skill is our sport. I can
Yeah.
run fast, I can jump fast, I have the mentality, I have the discipline, I can work really hard, I have really good time management. But talking to someone like Mia today, and I'm like, I don't think we both realize that we have the communication and being able to have this conversation. It is a skill.
Yeah.
It's not something easy to do. And I just want you to share, like, and to realize even yourself some of those skills you have and that we don't even ever think about or, share. So there you go, Mia.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for me, I've still been honestly trying to figure it out. Like, who am I outside of the identities that I have created for myself, especially in this season of my life? I've been in the same place for 4 years now. I've been at Pepperdine um since my freshman year, and I've established really profound relationships here. And I've also taken on a lot of leadership opportunities since I've been here, and kind of stepping into that role that I have been destined for me to step in, I guess, since I got here, and kind of getting my name out there and getting into things. And I think for me right now, it's figuring out, okay, without all of that, who am I, and like, what do I bring to the world? What do I bring to any space that I step in? And I think a lot of that is driven in kind of your moral compass and your values, because those are things that don't change regardless of any room that you enter. So regardless of where I'm at or what my environment is or who I'm around, I know that I'm centered in service, and I know that I'm centered in personal growth and discipline. And those are things that are really, really important to me. And those are intangible. I can't really, like, I'm not walking around with a sign on my forehead that says Mia is disciplined, or Mia has good verbal communication, or Mia is a good leader. Those are things that situationally come out. So I think that for me, it's how do I ground the things that I do and the ways I spend my time in my values and in kind of what gives me direction. Those things give me direction. That's what I want to center my career around doing. And so how do I make sure that I'm spending my time in ways that fulfill my values and kind of align with my values? So I think, I mean, I love being creative. So like whenever I have free time, like I like to do like fun craft, or like me and my teammates just made vision boards the other night, because that's something, I'm future oriented. Yeah, that's something that aligns, kind of like makes me feel fulfilled with my time. Like I'm creative and I'm future oriented. So let's make vision boards together and like talk about what our goals are for the year and kind of just like enjoy each other's presence. That's something that is really important to me too, like spending time with my loved ones. So stuff like that. I mean, I think that another big part of it is kind of like knowing that what you give your time to is kind of like gonna direct where you're going. Like scrolling, we as a society have really been struggling with the scrolling, myself included. I had to set a 15-minute screen time limit for myself on TikTok and then give the password to someone else so that I can't be like spending hours. Literally hours I was spending scrolling on TikTok. I couldn't get off of it. Scrolling while I made dinner, scrolling while I was sitting outside, scrolling in the training room while I'm getting treatment. And I think that why are we directing that's not getting us anywhere. Yeah, we watch a TikTok and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. But then we scroll and we go on to the next thing. So I think that being action oriented is a super important part of kind of knowing what type of things you want to do with your free time and knowing what type of passions and purpose and skills you want to have. But I think that scrolling and kind of rotting is the opposite of taking action. And because then you're looking, you're observing, you're passive, you're on to the next thing. And it's not, there's no deliverable in doing that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with relaxing. I think it's really important that you rest and you take your time, kind of give your central nervous system a reset. That is so important. But there are so many ways that you'll feel rejuvenated and energized beyond sitting on your phone, watching TikToks or Instagram reels. And, I mean, I think that's a conversation that we need to be having, because that's all, it's right in front of us. It's on our phones. We're not just going to throw away our phones. They're right in front of us. So it's kind of about where can I direct my energy somewhere that is going to be beneficial for me in the long run, and kind of being okay with that delayed gratification, which it's hard. It's not easy to be okay with. I'm putting in the work now and I might not see the fruition of my work for months, years. Like I might not see that, but it always ends up coming through. So kind of being okay with waiting for that and knowing that your values are driving you towards that, because that's what's gonna keep you going.
You know, I think it's quite interesting hearing you talk about scrolling, because what it looked to have created psychologically for a lot of us is busyness, right? And that we can't stay in one place or one thing a long time. We always need to change or transition, which actually breaks up consistency, right? And it keeps us from living in what my great uncle's a original Tuskegee Airman. You'll probably hear me mention him a lot in my life because he's so like impactful. And he said the greatest gift that we have is right now. And that's why they call it the present. And I was like, yo, it hit me when he said this. I was at a lunch and I was like, say that again? And he's like, the greatest gift that you will always have is right now. And he said, you must open up the gift that you have in your now. So when you talk about taking action, Mia, a lot of this that think we're chasing, I tell people, we think we're chasing success, but it's interesting how a tree never moves. It's interesting a tree goes through all kind of climates, storms, being whatever, dogs come lift their leg up on it. Let's just say that, right? All kind of things happen to the tree, but the tree still stands still. The tree still grows. The tree still, people climb on it. The tree still exists. It goes through the seasons and it doesn't move. But like you said earlier, because it's rooted, it can stand any circumstance or any season. And I get the sense that what scrolling creates for us is almost an anxiety to not stand still, to not be rooted. How do you and how have you gotten rooted in greatness?
I think that a lot of that comes from my faith. I think that true greatness and like true glory can only be held by the Lord. I think that Jesus is what embodies glory for us as Christians. And I was sitting in church on Sunday, and that was what we were talking about, or what the pastor was talking about. The sermon was about glory and how like the disciples asked Jesus for glory, and he said, "No, that's not for you." And how like what we ask the Lord for, when we pray to God, like he can see through us. He can see our intention. So it's about our intention. So if we're asking God for glory, then why do we want that glory? So we can be famous, so that we can be seen, so that
That's good.
we can have all of these things. But how about we ask God for things that like really mean something to us? Like something that we actually need. Like, am I praying to God that I'm going to win the race? Or am I praying to God that like I can be strong and that I can be rooted in my faith, that I can be calm, that I can execute my race plan? Like those are two very, very different things. Because at the end of the day, God is not just going to give me the glory of winning my race, but he will give me the patience. He will give me the trust in him and in my training. He will give me like the strength. He'll give me like, that's what he will give me. He's not just going to throw a win at me and be like, yeah, I love God. That's from me. That's my gift to you. Like that's not, if that's what God was just giving to us, like we would not develop as a people. We wouldn't grow. And I think that I don't see myself as rooted in greatness. And obviously I chase greatness. Like I chase greatness all the time. I want to be great. I want to be someone who makes an impact on the people around me. I want to be someone who makes a difference in the environments that I work in. But I don't want to settle in this idea that I have glory or that I am great, because I am only able to do the things that I am doing because of my faith in God. I think for me, like instead of being rooted in greatness, I'm rooted in what I know, like who I am, like what skills I bring, and like I was saying, like what my values are, because that's something that God has already given me. God's not going to give me glory, but he has given me all these skills that I'm so blessed to have and that I'm so blessed to strengthen like over the course of my life. And so like knowing that and knowing that God's given me that, I can be rooted in that. I can be rooted in my faith. I can be rooted in knowing that God has a plan for me. And the glory, like I give up all the glory to him. Like all this success, like I can accredit to my faith in God.
Listen, Mia, I love that, because when we say rooted in greatness here, like the narrative is actually that there is no greatness without him. Like literally my roots can be pulled out if they're planted in anything else. Like I'm for real. I can be rooted in the gym, right? And get paralyzed and can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
I can get rooted in a marriage and it breaks down and the person leaves. I can get rooted in my children and they pass away. And these are not just scenarios. These are things that I've seen happen in life, where people have been rooted in people, places, and things. And because we're rooted in people, places, and things, and they shift and change, we go through an identity complex, right? Or rooted in a sport. And then I have a career-ending injury, and I have to now cycle through mentally, what does this mean for me? Like, who am I now? My mentor says this all the time. He says, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So when you don't know the purpose of a thing, you'll abuse the thing. So a lot of people are in pursuit of success when the thing that I think we all probably are searching for is purpose.
Yes.
Like, right, why am I here? why am I doing this sport? Why am I in this city? Why was I born in this family? Why did I end up in this conversation? Why have you gifted me the gift to speak? Why have you given me the gift to draw or create? And that when I'm able to identify purpose, that's what propels me. Mia, the scripture says, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. Where do you feel like you're supposed to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion?
Well, one of the main things I've learned, especially in the past year, is that there's a really big difference between purpose and passion. And
hold on, say that again for the people. Say that
there's
again.
a really, really big difference between purpose and passion. And I used to wake up every day and be like, I'm super passionate about this, that, and the third. And it's great to be passionate about something. It's really, really great, but that is finite. You're not passionate. I'm not passionate about track when me and my teammates have the hardest workout of all time and we're all throwing up like after the workout. Like that's I'm not passionate. When I think about track, that is not what I'm passionate about. I'm not passionate about dying from workout. That's not what I'm passionate about. But what I find purpose in track is the connections I make with my teammates, being able to lead them, being able to give them advice, especially now as an upperclassman, as a captain, stepping into that role of leadership and service, really. And so like that's what I know I find purpose in, is those relationships and how we're pushing each other to be better and how we're helping each other to grow. That's what's purposeful to me. I've been doing track since I was in second grade. That's that my passion for track probably ran up when I was in middle school sometime.
Long time ago, right?
Yeah. So that fiery feeling that you feel for anything when you first see it, you first see a job listing online, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on fire. I'm going to apply for this. I'm going to get it. I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to get to move to this city. And then all of a sudden you don't get the job and that fire is extinguished very quickly.
Right.
But if you let that fire be extinguished and you let that passion kind of burn up, then you're stuck again. But if you have a purpose and you know why you're pursuing it, you're never going to stop. You're going to be relentless. So passion will stop when you hear no. Purpose doesn't ever stop. Purpose keeps running. Purpose keeps going. So
hold on, Tom. I can't let you run past that. Passion will stop when you're told no. Purpose is eternal and keeps on going.
Purpose is eternal because that is what's in you.
Yes.
The passion, like, yeah, you care about something. That's great. You can be passionate about something. There's nothing wrong with being passionate about something. But passion is not going to lead you to your desired outcome. That's just not how it works. Passion does not equate to discipline. It doesn't. So I think that kind of knowing my purpose and knowing where that's leading me, like that's what I need to know. And I think with being fruitful and fulfilling like what God has written for me, it's knowing that He placed a sense of purpose in me. Like I didn't just decide you can't just decide what your purpose is, because if you decide what your purpose is and then you try to take that, like you're you're not gonna love it. Like growing up, I told myself all throughout like middle school, high school, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to go to med school. I wanted to be a doctor. And step one of that was going to Duke University for undergrad. So I applied there, early decision.
Come on, you're a Duke fan? You're a Duke basketball fan?
No. Honestly, no. I didn't get in. So I didn't get into Duke. And so that I was like, all right, like whatever. And at that time I was a senior in high school. I was 18 and I didn't know how to pivot. And that was a really big learning moment for me. How do I pivot? And I wasn't good at trusting what God had for me. So that was a really, really terrible moment for me, because I was like, my whole life is over. Because what I thought my purpose was for so long was not recognized, because that's not the purpose God put in me. And even in high school, I took AP Psych, and mental health has been something I've always been passionate about. Deep down, I was like, maybe like something in psych, but I was like, no, I'm going to be a doctor. So kind of, I fought what God placed in my heart for so long. I fought that. And I came into school at Pepperdine. I was still bio pre-med. And then slowly I started opening myself up to, okay, this is what's meant for me. And then I went psych pre-med, and then I was like, I'm not gonna be a doctor. I realized I don't want to go to med school. Like, not even like
Right.
it's too hard, it's too many years. No,
Right.
I just
Right.
realized I don't want to do that. And like being able to accept that's okay. And so
Right.
then I was like, psych major, okay, I'm doing psych, but I'm the type of person, I always want to chase more. I always want to challenge myself more. So we have a sports medicine degree. So I was like, okay, I'll pick up a minor in sports medicine. That's something that I care about. And it's still the hard science part of it. It's still the more clinical side of it. And so I picked up a minor in sports medicine, and then I was like, this is really cool and I really like it. So I might as well just major in it also. So now I'm a double major, and I'm going to complete both degrees in May. After a
Congratulations.
grueling couple
Wow.
years. I mean, it hasn't been easy. But when you know that purpose, and you know, I'm here for a reason. Also, there's no turning back now. Like, I've already
Right.
completed 3.5 years of these degrees. I'm at the finish line right now. And knowing that, like, that work paid off, that delayed gratification. I worked so hard. I spent so many nights in the library till all hours of the night, office hours, like
Yeah.
assignments. I spent all of that time, like, going to bed early when I had an exam instead of hanging out. Like, all of those choices I made throughout my college career have led me to this point so that I could achieve what I have been meant to achieve. So I think for me, it's just kind of, I know that, like, for me, it's service. Like, I am doing what I'm doing now so I can serve others. And service looks different in so many different areas, so many different disciplines. But I want to be able to serve others through what I've learned and through my experience, my lived experience, because that's your biggest asset, is your lived experience. So I've lived through the identity foreclosure of being an athlete and not knowing who I am outside of that. And I've seen firsthand friends at my school, friends from high school, friends all over the place who are athletes who only value and know themselves as an athlete because that's also what the media tells us. You are just an athlete. You are expected to hit these people's parlays so that they don't lose their bets, that you can, like, score a certain number of points so that you can keep your spot on the roster. Like, all of that stuff, that puts us in a box of, I need to focus all my effort and energy into being the best athlete I can be and making sure I have the best skills I can have on the field, on the court, on the track, in the pool. But how fruitful really is that? Like, yeah, you're winning, yeah, but most of the time, like, there's a purpose for you to give back to the world and to influence other people beyond just being an athlete. Because really, like, yeah, you're inspiring people, but how are you helping people to become a better version of themselves?
That's
Like,
right.
how are you presenting yourself to the youth? How are you helping them to see, like, how are you showing them that you are the type of person that they want to be when they grow up? Because your younger self, you wouldn't want to tell your younger self, yeah, just focus on track. That's all you are. You're just a track athlete. Because then what happens if, like, I have a career-ending injury tomorrow? What happens if I get cut from my team tomorrow? Then who am I? What can I contribute to the world if I don't have that? Like, if you don't know your values, like, I can't give anything to the world. So it's really just about discovering, what do I care about? How do I want to give back to the world outside of my sport, outside of something that's finite, outside of something that could end tomorrow? And can I look at myself in the mirror and see that I give more to the world than just the time I can run in or the number of points I can score? So I think that it's really just about, like, knowing, like one, knowing your purpose, and two, knowing that, like, you have so much more value. Like you were saying, like, you're not just more than an athlete. You are not just an athlete. Like, you are,
You are you.
other than those
You are
hours,
enough. How about that?
yeah, you are more than enough, just yourself,
Right.
without your athletic capabilities. And kind of, like, knowing how to direct that outside and being able to influence people positively, I think is what's fruitful for me, is
Come on.
influencing people positively and doing that, like, through my lived experiences and through the things I'm learning. And so, I mean, it's different for everyone, but I think it's really important to talk about it and find it.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
love
Nora,
that.
over to you.
I Oh my God, I love that. And thank you so much, like, actually, for sharing that. And I hope everybody that is listening to us today is gonna realize the difference, because I personally just found out about that this summer. I'm 21.
Yeah.
And I've lived all my life just thinking my passion is what matters and my passion is going to make me successful. In school, I have passion for math and numbers, and I thought that's what's going to make me successful. And then in sports, I had so much passion for tennis, and I thought that's going to make me successful. But again, in CCF this summer, we talked a lot about the purpose. And that's when I realized like there's only much you can inspire people through your sport, like just them seeing you compete and become successful. But instead of just showing that and sharing that on social media and them seeing it and trying to inspire them that way, just by having one conversation, it literally can be 5 minutes. Like if your purpose is really to inspire younger athletes, go talk to them for 5 minutes. If they're coming by your court and want to watch you play, just say hi. Like they'll actually have them motivated probably for 2 to 3 days in their practices. And
Right.
it's actually amazing that you talked about that, because I do believe that matters so much now that I realize the difference, and now that I understand it. And I really hope to all the younger athletes listening to us and listening to Mia today, like to actually ask yourself, like, as we talked about, yes, your passion does matter, but what do you really want to get out of it? Like, forget about the achievements. Like, how do you want you, like, through your sport and through your personality to inspire people and help them? And yeah, I love to hear that, but how would you what advice will you give to these younger athletes, Mia, to like actually like sit down with themselves and realize this point? Or like what should their how can they change their perspective through this? Because again, it's not easy
Yeah.
to realize.
I think the big thing that you have to ask yourself is, do you want to be a good athlete or do you want to be a good person? Because you can be both, but which one are you prioritizing?
Right.
I think you are a good athlete if you are a good person, because you're good. Like, are you at your core, are you good? Like, are you kind? Are you caring of others? Or are you willing to do just whatever it takes to win, to be successful? And I think that when you get into this idea of I'll do whatever it takes away some of your humanity, because we're not robots. We're not machines. We can't do whatever it takes. Like, something has to give at some point. And I think when you're willing to do whatever it takes, that means you're willing to sacrifice everything. And are you really willing to sacrifice everything? Like your integrity, your purpose,
Come on.
your relationships. Like, are you willing to sacrifice that just to be the best, just to have the glory of being the best? Or do you want to use your athletic abilities as a tool to strengthen those things? It's all like, you're a vessel. Like, you can be filled however you choose to be
You
filled.
choose. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a choice. That is a choice that you wake up and you make that choice every day. Like, how am I going to fulfill myself today? And if you feel fulfilled by glory, by winning, like, yeah, that's great. Like you're saying, it's a dopamine hit. Winning is a
Right.
dopamine hit. That's why athletes are so much more susceptible to betting. That's why athletes continue going back to practice and winning every day, because as soon as you win, it's a dopamine hit and you're like, oh, I want that feeling again.
Right.
But how are you training yourself and your mind to get a dopamine hit out of helping other people? Because that's the real drug.
That's
Is
right.
I give advice to a teammate and I see them, like, I see how it transforms their mindset, or I see how it might help them to find direction in a situation they're in. That is so fulfilling to me, to know that I had a positive impact and that I was able to influence another person's day positive. Like, that is a much better feeling. And knowing that I've created profound relationships, that is so much more of a feeling to me than winning. Like, winning a race, yeah, that is amazing. I love that feeling. But that feeling, like, that's only really doing good by me. Like, how am I doing good by other people? And how am I doing good by God? So I really think, like, if you're a young athlete, it's really just about, it is so important that you work hard. It is so important that you're disciplined, but don't give up everything. Don't give up your humanity, and know who you are. What do you like to do outside of your sport? It's okay. It's okay to like things outside of your sport. It's okay to have hobbies. In fact, like, you need to have those things outside of your sport, or you're going to be miserable. Like, you need to slow down. It's really important to slow down, to rest, to know yourself, to prioritize your relationships with your coaches, with your teammates, with your family, with your friends. and just like really just talking to other people and hearing from other people. That's the best way to grow, is just to have conversations. That's why I love having conversations like this. Like, you can learn so much from other people, and you can learn so much about being a good person, about giving back to others, about service through other people. And I think that really, like, the important thing about being an athlete is how you are a leader. And you have the ability to lead any single person you interact with. It's not just about giving instructions or telling people what to do. It's about the conversations you have and the way you carry yourself and the things that you do, the integrity that you have. What do you do when no one's looking at you? That's really who you are as a leader. And so I think really, like, if you're a young athlete, just know, like, true leadership is rooted in service. And athletic leadership rooted in service. How are you giving back to your coaches? How are you giving back to your teammates? How are you giving back to the world around you, to your fans, to your family? Like, how are you giving back to those people? Because those people are supporting you. And so, do you want to be cutthroat, and do you want to do whatever it takes and kind of leave those people behind? Or do you want to take them with you and allow them to kind of help you carry that load? Because it's really hard to do it alone. So I think really just knowing that, like, just be a good person. Just know, like, do the thing that a good person would do. Do the thing that Jesus would do, not the thing that a winning athlete would do all the time. Because that's when you die, people aren't just going to talk about what you won and your accolades and your achievements. They're also going to talk about how you influenced them and how you made them feel. And that's the main thing that people remember about you, is how you make them feel and how you influence them. So, yeah, just always keep that in the back of your mind. Just always know, like, always ask yourself, am I doing what a good person would do, or a good athlete? And kind of knowing that, like, be a person first, be a human first.
Love that.
Yeah, I love everything that you're sharing. And I know we got to wrap up here. I think we're going to have to do a part 2. But I really, I want to ask this to you. I've never asked this question before. What does it mean to you to hear "well done, thy good and faithful servant"?
I think it's a fleeting moment of validation. You finish a hard workout, you look to your coach immediately. I look to my coach immediately. What was my split on the last rep? Is that good? Film. We do film breakdown of, like, our starts, our technical stuff. I look at it. Was that good? Was that good enough? What can I fix? Because we're just chasing the validation, the external validation from other people telling us, well done. I do that every day. On my exam, I get a 95. The professor writes, well done on it. I did a good job. Are we pursuing what's well done in the eyes of humans, or are we pursuing what's well done in the eyes of the Lord? And I feel like that is what he's put on my heart to answer this question with, is there's nothing wrong. We're human. There is nothing wrong with seeking that validation from other people. And there's nothing wrong with wanting your coach to tell you did a good job. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the greater purpose is doing what's well done in the eyes of the Lord. So, I mean, that is something that is a lot harder to do. And I'm not exactly sure yet, like, what exactly that means to me, to do what's well done in the eyes of the Lord. But I know it starts with trusting in him and chasing him first. And, like, chasing his plan for me. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with getting caught up in what's well done in the eyes of the people around you, but and, like, in yourself. It's very also important. Like, it doesn't matter if, like, someone else tells you did well done, if you don't believe that yourself. So kind of knowing that in yourself too. And, like, having those standards for yourself and being able to set those standards for yourself, regardless of what other people say. Did I do a good job because I believe I did a good job, or because a certain number says I did a good job? Did I do a good job because I helped other people, even though I didn't win? So, I think just about, like, giving assists and helping other people and putting other people above yourself, being a good teammate, that's kind of the big idea. So, I'm not really sure, but I do know that it's important to pursue what God says is good, rather than what one person might say is good.
It's amazing.
I
When
love that.
when you were asking that to Rico, I like, in my head I was thinking of what she might answer, but it was never like that.
What
Like,
she said.
you know how like like saying like in the eyes of the people or in the eyes of the Lord, like that just blew my mind. I was like, how, like that's amazing. How did you think of that, you know?
Yeah.
Really amazing to hear. I just wanna ask you one last thing, Mia, before we wrap up. What's like hearing you talk about all of this and it, you know, we feel your energy, we feel the experience you had, we feel the growth, you know, we feel your faith. Just one thing that you want us to remember today? Just one thing. If you mentioned it already or if you did, just one thing.
I think my biggest thing that I always come back to, in terms of leadership and in terms of athletics, it's a Will Baggett quote that I think we first heard in
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis in May. And it's if leadership is, or sorry, let me start again. If servitude is below you, then leadership is above you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like that is something that completely transforms my idea of leadership because leading is the most like quintessential
Hmm.
example of serving.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing right by the people that you are leading? So I think that that's really my big thing. And being someone who has recognized that anyone has the possibility to be the leader, to be a
Mm-hmm.
leader, and knowing that I'm growing as a leader and I'm learning how to be a good leader, knowing that that always starts in my servitude and how I can serve other people and help other people to be the best version of themselves so that they can go on and serve other people and lead other people. And I think that's the big thing is that like if servitude is below you, then leadership is above you.
Thank you,
Wow.
Mia. Thank you. Thank you for
Wow.
this was amazing.
Listen, I I I know for
This was like
sure
a therapy
that,
session.
but I have to say, Mia, what was just experienced is what can be experienced when we allow faith to lead, right? Um,
Yes.
Mhm.
because we know where this comes from, right? The Bible says, I know where my help comes from. My help comes from the Lord, right? And when you understand that, this is the reason for me. I think it's so essential and extremely important in these last days. It was an absolute challenge where the Lord said to me, I thought for years that I'd be pastoring in a church. And it was an absolute honor for me for the Lord to speak to my heart and say, no, you're going to go serve athletes. And I was like, okay, all right, but why? Right? Like everybody, but why athletics? I'm an entrepreneur. Why athletics? And he said to me, because the world sees athletes as performers, but I see them as my army. They've been equipped for battle. They've been equipped with the mindset of discipline. They've been equipped to go and continue to go and to be resilient. They've been equipped. And I need you to go and remind them of their faith in me, not their faith in their sport, not their faith in, their selfishness, the reward, right? That there's a bigger reward. And the Bible says, forget those things which are behind you and press toward the mark of a higher calling in Jesus Christ. And so I am so honored to have this conversation. Thank you. It's so nice for me I feel like God has blessed me with the opportunity to have these conversations and touch the remnant of young people that are up and coming, and for the world to see all is not lost. All is not lost. That there's a remnant out here that still believes. There's a remnant that still is in pursuit of purpose, that is in pursuit of
Mhm.
servitude. And so thank you for the pillar of light that you're being where you are. And I look forward to seeing, one, how you're going to impact the track. Two, how you're going to impact your environment. And three, how God's going to use you to impact the globe. So thank you so much for joining us here at Exposure, and tell the people where they can find you, Mia.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. All you kind of need is an opportunity and a platform, and I'm always pursuing opportunities to kind of bring impact with my words because that's our most powerful tool is our voice. And so using my voice is something that I'm always eager to do. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have a conversation with you guys and kind of like be vulnerable with you guys and talk about like kind of what makes me tick and what's important to me. And hopefully if I have impacted one person by doing that, that's what's important to me. So thank you guys so much. Like from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So my LinkedIn is Amelia Skuraton. I'm a LinkedIn demon. I love LinkedIn. So everyone who's listening, please would love to connect on LinkedIn. My Instagram is just my name at Mia Skuraton. And those are kind of the two social media platforms that I use the most. But yeah, I'm super excited for this opportunity. I love to do things like this, so I'm really grateful to be here with you guys to hear your insights and to share some of mine.
No, thank you so much. Oh, listen, we love you, wishing you the best. We're praying for you in this new season that you're going into. And know that you're part of the Exposure family now. So good to have you, Mia.
I'm honored. I'm honored. It's an honor.